hear me when I say this. If the enemy could have stopped you, he would have stopped you a long time ago. The fact that you're still standing, still breathing, still hoping, still fighting means God is not finished with you yet. You didn't survive the storm, the setbacks, the betrayal, the nights you cried and nobody knew, just to die in the desert. Oh no! God didn't bring you out of bondage to abandon you in the wilderness. He's the kind of God who completes what he starts. And if he started a good work in you, then baby, he is about to finish it in a way that will make every tear make sense. When you look back over your life, really look back, not just at the polished moments, not just at the celebrations and the victories, but at the nights you thought you wouldn't make it, the seasons where everything in you felt broken, the days you carried pain in silence, you will realize something powerful. You survived what was designed to destroy you. And survival is never accidental. It is intentional, divine, strategic. It is the quiet evidence that heaven has been working behind the scenes on your behalf. You didn't just happen to get through that heartbreak. You didn't just casually overcome that financial struggle, that emotional breakdown, that spiritual drought. You didn't simply make it because you were strong. You made it because God had a plan for your life that the enemy could not cancel. There were moments when you could have quit, moments when everything in your body was exhausted, your mind was overwhelmed, and your heart was torn. And yet somehow, in ways you didn't even understand at the time, you kept going. You stood up again, you walked forward again, you prayed again, you tried again. People saw your smile, but they never saw the battles behind your eyes. They admired your strength, but they never witnessed the nights you cried yourself to sleep telling God, Lord, I don't know how much more I can take. And still, morning came, breath returned, hope flickered, strength rose. You didn't realize it, but heaven was whispering over your life, this one is not done yet. The mere fact that you are alive right now, with everything you've been through, with everything you've carried, is proof that purpose is still pulling you forward. If your story was over, you wouldn't still be here. If your assignment was complete, God would have closed the chapter. But because you are here, still breathing, still thinking, still searching, still longing, it means destiny is still unfolding. It means there is more for you to see, more for you to become, more for you to accomplish, more for you to experience. You are not an accident moving through time. You are a testimony walking toward fulfillment. Think about the seasons where you felt like giving up. Think about the moments where you thought the pain would swallow you whole. Somehow, even in those dark spaces, God preserved a small flame inside you, a flicker that refused to be extinguished. You thought it was your strength, but it was his hand. You thought it was your willpower, but it was his purpose. You thought it was your endurance, but it was his promise. Something kept telling you, hold on just a little longer. Something in your spirit wouldn't let you quit. Something deep inside kept whispering, this is not the end of your story. That something was God's plan refusing to let go of you. Many times people believe God works only in the miracles, the sudden breakthroughs, the dramatic turnarounds, the supernatural interventions. But one of the greatest miracles is quiet survival. It is the strength to endure when you feel empty. It is the courage to stand when your knees are shaking. It is the faith to move when fear is screaming louder than your hope. God's plan doesn't always show up with fireworks. Sometimes it shows up in the simple fact that you didn't lose your mind. You didn't collapse. You didn't fall apart permanently. Even if you broke, you healed. Even if you stumbled, you rose. Even if you wandered, you came back. That is purpose holding you together. You are not here because life has been easy. You are here because God has been faithful. You are not here because you did everything right. You are here because grace covered the places where you fell short. You are not here because people carried you. You are here because God refused to let the weight crush you. You are standing today because every breath you take is a reminder that the enemy didn't win. Your survival is the announcement that hell's plans were interrupted, heaven's assignments were activated, and God's purpose is still in motion. There were traps set for you. Mental traps, emotional traps, spiritual traps, but they failed because God stepped in. There were seasons designed to drain you until nothing was left. But they failed because God refilled you. There were people who thought their betrayal would break you, but it didn't, because God rebuilt you stronger. There were storms that rose against you with the intention of taking you under, but you didn't drown because God held you above the waves. Survival is not weakness. It is strength multiplied by grace. And here's the truth: many never realize survival is a sign of selection. God only preserves what He intends to use. He only carries what He plans to elevate. He only protects what He is preparing. The pain you endured wasn't random. It was shaping something inside you. The storms you survived weren't meaningless. They were sharpening your discernment, deepening your faith, strengthening your spirit. The valleys you walked through were training grounds for the mountains you're about to climb. You didn't survive to stay the same. You survived to step into something greater. Every tear watered a seed. Every loss stripped away what couldn't go with you. Every battle prepared your hands for something bigger. Every setback positioned you for a comeback that heaven already scheduled. God's plan is not invalidated by your wounds. God's plan is revealed through them. Your scars are not signs of defeat. They are proof that you made it out. They are the handwriting of grace written across your life. If you ever doubt whether God has a plan, look at how many times you should have been destroyed but weren't. Look at how many times you thought it was over but it wasn't. Look at how many times you felt like the darkness would consume you but light broke through anyway. You are still here because purpose refused to let you die in the struggle. God preserved you because He still intends to use you. Your survival is not just your story, it is your prophecy. It is the evidence that God is still working, still shaping, still guiding, still opening doors, still making ways, still preparing your next season. You didn't survive by accident. You survived because there is something ahead of you that is bigger than what is behind you. Your survival is the confirmation that God still has a plan for your life, and that plan is not finished yet. Every delay you've endured, every detour that confused you, every disappointment that knocked the wind out of your spirit has not been wasted. Life has a way of making us feel like we're off track. We look at the calendar. We look at our peers. We look at the opportunities that slip through our fingers, and something in us whispers, "You should be further by now." But what we often fail to recognize is that delay is not denial. Delay is development. It's the place where God slows you down so He can strengthen what's inside you before He reveals what's ahead of you. Every single moment that felt like life was holding you back was actually God holding you together. There are seasons where you pray and nothing happens. You knock on doors and they stay closed. You apply for things and receive rejection. You try to start something and it crumbles. And it's not because you're lacking potential or destiny or talent. Sometimes it's because God is shielding you from premature exposure. Purpose requires preparation. Calling requires capacity. Destiny requires depth. And God loves you too much to let you step into something you're not yet ready to carry. The delay is not punishment, it is protection. It is God's way of saying, let me develop you privately so you can withstand what I'm about to release publicly. Detours, too, are misunderstood blessings. You had plans. You had a timeline. You had a vision for how things should unfold. And then life redirected you. You ended up somewhere you didn't expect, emotionally, financially, spiritually, geographically. And at first, it felt like failure or misdirection. You thought you'd missed the road. You thought you'd taken the wrong turn, but sometimes the wrong turn is God's turn. Sometimes the road you never planned to travel becomes the exact road that leads you into purpose. If God always let you take the straight path, you would never learn to depend on Him. You would never learn endurance, patience, discernment, or humility. Detours are the classrooms where destiny is taught. Think about Joseph. He had dreams as a teenager, dreams so big they intimidated even the people closest to him. But before those dreams came true, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. None of those stops were on his vision board. He never prayed, "Lord, take me through betrayal, injustice, and abandonment," but each of those detours carried him closer to the palace. Each unexpected turn shaped him into the man who would eventually have the wisdom and compassion to save nations. What looked like delay was divine direction. What looked like misfortune was training. Your detours are doing the same for you. They are teaching you what your destiny requires. And then there are disappointments, the hardest part of the journey. The moments when something you hoped for collapses in front of you. The relationships you thought would last that suddenly ended. The opportunities you were excited about that disappeared. The prayers that seemed to go unanswered. Disappointment has a way of pressing your heart until it aches. It can make you question God, question yourself, question the future. But disappointment is not the death of destiny. It is often the birthplace of clarity. Sometimes God allows certain things to fall apart because they were not aligned with His promise. Sometimes what you wanted was too small. Sometimes what you were holding on to was beneath your calling. Sometimes the door that closed was keeping you from walking into the door that would bless your entire life. If God let you have everything you wanted when you wanted it, you would settle for less than what He prepared. Disappointment breaks your attachment to what isn't meant for you. It clears the space of your life so the right things can grow. It frees your hands so you can receive something bigger, something better. Something more aligned with your purpose. God is not hurting you, He is pruning you. And though pruning feels painful, it is always preparation for greater fruit. Behind every delay, every detour, every disappointment is a God who sees the full picture. You see the chapter, He sees the whole book. You see the moment, He sees eternity. You see what you lost, He sees what that loss will allow you to gain. You see rejection. He sees repositioning. You see obstacles. He sees opportunities disguised in difficulty. Because God never wastes time, never wastes pain, never wastes experiences. Everything is woven together. Every thread is intentional. Nothing in your story is meaningless. Look back on the things you prayed for that didn't happen. Remember the person you cried over who walked away. Think about the job you thought was the on, but it didn't work out. Think about the plan that collapsed, the door that locked, the season that shifted. Now consider where you are today. Consider who you have become. Consider the strength you gained, the wisdom you developed, the faith that deepened. What felt like a curse then looks like a blessing now. What felt like loss then feels like liberation now. That is how God works. He lets delayed moments transform into destiny moments. In the silence of delay, God trains your patience. In the frustration of detours, God trains your trust. In the pain of disappointment, God trains your heart to release what cannot carry you into your future. And you may not see it right away, but eventually you'll look back and realize that every break in your plan was a precise step in God's plan. Delays are training your endurance. Detours are expanding your capacity. Disappointments are sharpening your discernment. God is not punishing you, He is preparing you. You asked Him to elevate you, but elevation requires stability. You asked Him to enlarge your territory, but enlarged territory requires stronger foundations. You asked Him to open doors, but open doors require character to sustain what blessing brings. God isn't just taking you somewhere, He's building you into someone. And the powerful part is this: nothing you've been through has disqualified you. Instead, everything you've been through has equipped you. The very things that felt like they were holding you back are actually pushing you forward. The seasons that drained you are the same seasons God is using to define you. Every delay is strengthening you. Every detour is positioning you. Every disappointment is preparing you. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are being developed. When God finally opens the door, when He finally reveals the answer, when He finally brings the breakthrough, you will walk into it with maturity, depth, gratitude, wisdom, and strength you never would have gained without the delays, detours, and disappointments. You'll realize that God wasn't taking from you, He was adding to you. He wasn't slowing you down. He was setting you up. He wasn't letting you fail. He was preparing you to flourish. Your destiny is not fragile. Your purpose cannot be ruined. Every step, even the ones you didn't choose, is leading you towards something bigger than you imagined. The delays shaped you. The detours positioned you. The disappointments refined you. Your destiny is being prepared piece by piece, moment by moment. And when God is ready to reveal it, everything you've been through will suddenly make perfect, divine sense. There are moments in life, quiet, fragile moments, when you feel like everything inside you is unraveling, when the weight on your shoulders becomes heavier than your strength, when your heart feels tired, your mind feels clouded, and your spirit feels drained. You try to pray, but the words feel stuck in your chest. You try to fight, but your hands hang low. You try to stand, but your knees buckle beneath you. And it's in these moments, the moments when your strength is at its lowest, that God's presence becomes the most undeniable. Not because he suddenly shows up, he's been there all along, but because your weakness creates the space for his power to reveal itself. We live in a world that celebrates strength, independence, toughness, and the ability to handle everything yourself. But God does his greatest work when you reach the end of your own ability. When your strength runs out, his strength steps in. When you feel small, his presence becomes big. When you feel powerless, his presence becomes your power source. It is in weakness, not in strength, that his glory is most visible. Because when you're strong, people can say, "You did it." But when you're weak and still standing, still moving, still believing, people have no choice but to say, "God did that." Your weakness does not repel God, it attracts him. He is drawn to the brokenhearted. He is present with the crushed in spirit. He leans in when you feel like you're falling apart, not to judge, not to criticize, not to scold you for being human, but to wrap his strength around your fragility. There's something sacred about the moments when tears stream down your face and you whisper, "Lord, I can't do this anymore," because heaven hears that whisper, and God responds with, "You don't have to, I'm here." When life hits you hard, when the battles seem endless, when the pressures of family, career, relationships, finances, or faith feel like too much, God isn't watching from a distance. He's not standing back waiting for you to figure it out. He is right there, closer than your own breath, whispering strength into your soul. He's holding you in the dark when you don't even realize you're being held. The fact that you haven't collapsed, the fact that you're still trying, the fact that something in you refuses to give up, that is his presence sustaining you. Weakness is not failure. Weakness is a doorway. It's the doorway through which God enters your situation with supernatural power. If you were strong all the time, you would never experience his strength. If you had every answer, you would never learn to lean on his wisdom. If you had the ability to carry everything, you would never know the comfort of his arms. Your weakness is not a liability to God. It is the perfect environment for him to show himself mighty. Sometimes God will allow you to come to the end of yourself so you can discover the beginning of him. You may feel like you're breaking, but he's not breaking you. He's breaking open the places where you have been relying on your own strength. He's breaking open the illusion that you have to hold everything together. He's breaking open the belief that you have to be strong for everyone else. He's teaching you that it's okay to be weak in his presence, because his strength is not something he gives, it's something he becomes. There is a sweetness, a closeness, a deep intimacy that develops with God when you are in a season of weakness. You pray differently. You listen differently. You lean on him differently. It's not the polished, rehearsed prayers. It's the raw, from the depth of your soul cries. It's the honesty, the vulnerability, the surrender, and God meets you there, in the place where your tears fall, in the place where your voice shakes, in the place where you don't have anything left to prove. You might not understand why you're in this season. You might question why life feels so heavy right now. You might wonder why you feel weak so often. But God isn't punishing you, he's positioning you. He's positioning you for a greater revelation of his presence. He's teaching you to rely on him in a way you never have before. He's reminding you that your strength is limited, but his is limitless. Your energy runs out, but his never dries up. Your endurance wears thin, but his presence sustains forever. There are things God can only teach you when you're weak. When you're strong, you might rush ahead. When you're strong, you might rely on your own understanding. When you're strong, you might forget to pray with intensity. But when you're weak, when you're worn out, when you feel like you're at the edge, you cling to him. You listen more carefully. You trust more deeply. You release control more willingly. Weakness becomes the training ground for deeper faith. It becomes the soil where humility grows, where compassion is born, where spiritual maturity takes root. The strongest people in God's kingdom are not those who never struggle. They are those who let God be strong for them. They're the ones who say, Lord, I can't, but I know you can. They are the ones who realize that divine strength carries them farther than human strength ever could. Think of the moments in your life when you thought you wouldn't make it. When the pain was too much, when the anxiety was overwhelming, when the betrayal cut deep, when the disappointment suffocated your joy. Yet here you are, still breathing, still standing, still walking, still growing. What sustained you? What lifted you? What held you? God's presence did what your strength could not. When you were too tired to fight, He fought for you. When you were too hurt to stand, He stood with you. When you were too overwhelmed to see the way forward, He lit the path. When your heart was breaking, He held the pieces together. Weakness is not the place where God abandons you. It is the place where He proves Himself faithful. You may feel weak today. You may feel drained. You may feel like you're running on empty, but you are not alone. God is not waiting for you on the other side of your struggle. He is in the struggle with you. He's in the tears. He's in the questions. He's in the exhaustion. He's in the fear. He's in the uncertainty. His presence is not distant. It is immediate, tangible, powerful, and personal. If you could see what heaven sees, you'd understand that you are stronger right now than you think, not because of your own power, but because God is holding you up. You are being carried by a strength that never fades. You are being upheld by a presence that never weakens. You are being supported by a God who never grows tired of you, never gets frustrated with your weakness, never abandons you in your vulnerability. Your weakness does not disqualify you. It qualifies you for God's strength. It positions you for His power. It draws His presence closer. And when you come out of this season, and you will come out, you will look back and realize that the moments you felt weakest were the moments God was working the hardest. His presence was your strength all along. There are forces in this world, people, circumstances, timelines, doubts, seasons, that may try to convince you that what God started in you is somehow in danger, that your purpose can be stopped, your calling can be blocked. Your destiny can be delayed beyond recovery. But what they fail to understand is this: when God initiates a work inside you, no human opinion, no earthly obstacle, no spiritual opposition has the authority to cancel it. God is not a man that He should lie, nor a man that He should change His mind. When He speaks, it is established. When He begins, He completes. When He plants a seed, it will grow. What God started in you is unstoppable, not because you are perfect, but because He is faithful. Many people look at their circumstances and assume that difficulty means disqualification. They assume that if things get hard, God must have changed His mind. But hardship is not evidence of abandonment, it is evidence of assignment. The enemy does not attack what is empty. He attacks what is valuable. The storms in your life aren't signs that God has left you. They are signs that something powerful is being built inside you. The greater the calling, the greater the resistance. The larger the destiny, the larger the opposition. But none of it can stop what God has ordained. People may misunderstand you. They may underestimate you. They may reject you. They may walk away from you. They may speak against you. But people do not have the final say over your life. They didn't call you, so they can't cancel you. They didn't anoint you, so they can't undo what God has done. They didn't create your purpose, so they don't get to dictate your destiny. People can slow you down emotionally, but they cannot stop the plan heaven wrote over your name. What God starts cannot be silenced by human insecurity. Circumstances may shift. Seasons may change. Doors may close. Opportunities may dissolve. Life may throw unexpected storms your way. But circumstances do not dictate destiny. Circumstances are temporary. God's word is eternal. Circumstances are influenced by time. God's promise stands outside of time. Circumstances may shake you, but they cannot shake God. And because God is unshakable, so is the purpose He placed inside you. Sometimes the journey gets long and you start questioning yourself. You look at how far you have to go and you wonder if you're capable. You look at the delays and you wonder if you missed your moment. You look at the struggles and you wonder if God changed his plan. But hear this, the start of your purpose was not your idea. The vision, the dream, the calling, that came from God. And because it came from God, it can only be completed by God. He is not relying on your perfection, your strength, your flawless consistency. He just wants your willingness. Faithfulness is not perfection, it is persistence. And even when you lose strength, he remains strong enough to hold what he started. There are moments when you may feel stuck emotionally, stuck financially, stuck spiritually, and you wonder if this is the end of the path. But a pause is not the end. Sometimes God pauses your journey to protect you. Sometimes he pauses it to mature you. Sometimes he pauses it so that the right things can align at the right time. You might feel motionless, but God is still moving behind the scenes. The roots grow before the tree rises. The foundation is built before the structure stands. The preparation happens before the unveiling. Nothing is wasted in God's timing. You must understand that destiny is not fragile. If God's plan could be stopped by your mistakes, it would never have started. If it could be canceled by people's opinions, it would have died in the beginning. If it could be destroyed by storms, it would have collapsed long ago. But look at you, you're still here with everything you've faced, everything you've endured, everything that tried to break you, you're still standing. That alone is proof that something unbreakable is working inside you. What God started in you is woven into the layers of your being. Before you were born, he wrote your purpose into your design. Before you took your first breath, he declared destiny over your life. Before you faced your first trial, he had already planned your victory. You are not walking into a future God is unsure about. You are walking into a future God already finished. You're catching up to what he already completed. You're stepping into what he already arranged. You're becoming what he already foresaw. And no matter how much fear rises, fear cannot stop God's plan. Fear may slow your steps, but it cannot erase your destiny. Fear may whisper lies, but it cannot silence God's truth. Fear may make you hesitant, but it cannot make God change his mind. The plan is still intact. The assignment is still active. The purpose is still alive. There will be seasons where you feel like everything around you is fighting against the work God is doing. People will doubt you. Circumstances will push you. Life will test you. Your own mind will criticize you. But even then, the work continues because the work isn't external, it's internal. God builds from the inside out. He strengthens your faith before expanding your territory. He deepens your courage before enlarging your influence. He prepares your heart before elevating your voice. He is forming you, shaping you, refining you because what he is building inside you is too sacred to be rushed. Sometimes you won't notice the progress. You'll think nothing is changing. You'll think the prayers aren't working. You'll think the progress is too slow, but just because you can't see movement doesn't mean it isn't happening. Seeds grow underground before they appear above the surface, and often the deeper the roots, the stronger the tree. God is giving you deep roots because the destiny ahead of you requires strength. And here's the truth that many forget: God is not intimidated by your weaknesses. He's not shocked by your struggles. He's not disappointed by your doubts. The same God who began the work already accounted for every moment when you would feel like quitting. He factored in every valley, every failure, every mistake, every setback. And even with all of that, he still declared, I'm going to use you. So don't let temporary setbacks convince you that God is done. Don't let human voices drown out divine assurance. Don't let fear magnify itself above his promise. What he started in you is wired with completion. Heaven doesn't initiate projects that remain unfinished. God is not building an incomplete destiny in your life. He is the author and the finisher, the potter and the shaper, the Alpha and the Omega. And when God finishes something, he finishes it beautifully. He finishes it powerfully. He finishes it intentionally. The work he started in you is going to unfold in ways you never imagined, at times you least expect, through opportunities you couldn't have orchestrated. What God started cannot be stopped, not by people, not by circumstances, not by fear, not by delay, not by disappointment, because what he begins, he finishes, and what he promises, he performs, and what he builds, he sustains, and what he anoints, he protects. The work is still alive inside you, and God is not done, not even close. There are seasons in life when you stand on the edge of something you can't quite name. Something you can feel in your spirit, even if you can't see it with your eyes, a stirring, a shifting, a quiet inner knowing that something is about to break open in your life. You may not have the evidence yet. You may not have the confirmation yet. You may not even have the clarity yet, but you can sense it. The atmosphere around your spirit feels different. The weight you've been carrying feels like it's reaching its expiration date. The pressure you've been under feels like it's building towards something. The tears you've cried feel like they're watering seeds you didn't even realize you planted. And deep down, you can feel it. You are standing on the edge of a breakthrough that your past tried its hardest to prevent. Every struggle you've been through, every disappointment you've carried, every closed door that felt like rejection, none of it was random. All of it was resistance designed to prepare you. You've been pushed, stretched, tested, refined. Life tried to break you in the places where you were meant to grow. The enemy tried to discourage you in the seasons where God was developing you. And your past tried to whisper that you weren't worthy, weren't capable, weren't chosen. But the mere fact that you're still here, still fighting, still believing, still hoping, is proof that something greater is on the other side of this season. Breakthroughs don't come without battles. They don't come without pressure. They don't come without spiritual warfare, emotional turbulence, and mental stretching. Your past fought you so hard because your future is so great. The darkness tried to swallow you because your light is powerful. The enemy came after you because he saw what was in you before you did. The attacks weren't random, they were targeted. They were strategies meant to wear you down so you wouldn't have the strength to step into what God prepared. But you endured, you survived, you held on, you pushed through moments that could have crushed you. You kept walking when you had every reason to quit. You kept believing when your circumstances gave you no logical reason to believe. You kept showing up even when your heart was tired, your faith was shaky, and your future felt uncertain. And that endurance, that perseverance, that quiet refusal to give up has positioned you for a breakthrough you didn't even know was forming. You are closer than you think, closer than you feel. Closer than your doubts allow you to acknowledge. Breakthrough often comes disguised as pressure. It comes disguised as chaos. It comes disguised as confusion. It comes disguised as the storm before the settling. It is often when things feel the tightest, the heaviest, the most overwhelming that God is moments away from releasing something powerful into your life. Think of a woman in labor. The moment before the birth is the moment of greatest pain, greatest intensity, greatest pressure. The pushing is uncomfortable. The stretching feels unbearable. But the pain is not a sign of defeat. It is a sign of deliverance. Something is about to be born. Something is about to break through. Something is about to come forth that the pressure has been preparing you for. The pain you felt is not the end. It's the beginning. Your past tried to block you, but it couldn't. It tried to pull you backward, but it failed. It tried to convince you to settle, compromise, shrink, or give up. But here you are, still pressing forward. The things that were meant to derail you actually strengthened you. The wounds that were supposed to break you actually deepened you. The betrayals that were supposed to discourage you actually sharpened your discernment. The losses that were supposed to devastate you actually cleared space for new blessings. Everything that was meant to stop you has secretly prepared you for what's coming next. Breakthrough happens when your spirit refuses to let your past define your future. It happens when you stop repeating the story of your pain and start walking in the story of your promise. It happens when you realize that your past was not your prison, your past was your preparation. Every step, even the painful ones, brought you to this edge. And from this edge, you can see possibility again. You can feel hope rising again. You can sense God moving again. The enemy didn't fight you over where you've been. He fought you over where you're going. He didn't attack your past. He attacked your potential. He didn't try to destroy your history. He tried to destroy your destiny, and he failed, because what God has set in motion cannot be undone. What God has spoken cannot be silenced. What God has prepared cannot be intercepted. If you feel like you're in a season of stretching, don't be discouraged. It means expansion is coming. If you feel like everything familiar is shifting, don't panic. It means God is making room for something new. If you feel like you're being pulled away from old environments, old patterns, old relationships, old mindsets, it's because those things can't come with you into your breakthrough season. Breakthrough requires release. Breakthrough requires surrender. Breakthrough requires transformation. You cannot step into a new season with old habits. You cannot rise into your calling with a wounded identity. You cannot receive new blessings with closed hands. And God is using this season to break off what can't go with you: fear, insecurity, doubt, shame, bitterness, trauma. The old version of you that was shaped by survival instead of purpose. You are not breaking down, you are breaking through. You are not being crushed, you are being shaped. You are not losing, you are clearing space. You are not waiting, you are incubating something powerful. Even now, God is aligning people, opportunities, resources, open doors, divine connections, and unexpected favor that will intersect with your life at the exact moment you're ready. You are not behind schedule, you are right on the brink. Breakthrough is not just about what you receive, it's about who you become. The person you are now is stronger, wiser, more grounded, more mature, more spiritually aware than the person you were before the struggle. You've been transformed by the pain you endured. You've been refined by the fire you walked through. You've been elevated internally before God elevates you externally. And when the breakthrough comes, and it will, you will step into it with humility, strength, clarity, and gratitude. You won't sabotage it because the struggle taught you discipline. You won't doubt it because the waiting taught you faith. You won't fear it because the battles taught you courage. You won't lose it because the pain taught you stewardship. Everything you've walked through has prepared you for everything you're about to walk into. Everything that tried to stop you has only strengthened you for the season ahead. Everything that broke you has positioned you for what God is building next. You are standing on the edge, right on the verge of a breakthrough so significant that your past is trembling, your doubts are shaking, and your enemies are growing silent. What's coming is greater than what left. What's ahead is bigger than what was behind, and what God is about to release in your life will make every struggle make sense. You are on the edge of breakthrough, and nothing, no past, no pain, no person, no force of darkness can stop what God is about to do next. There comes a moment in every journey where the weight of your past tries to convince you that you've gone as far as you can go. The enemy whispers that your best days are behind you, that you've made too many mistakes, that you've missed too many opportunities, that you're too tired, too broken, too stained by life to step into anything greater. But I need you to hear me. By the Spirit of the living God, your story is not ending here. You are not standing in a graveyard. You are standing in a gateway. And everything you have survived, every heartbreak, every setback, every storm has been preparing you, shaping you, molding you for the place where God is taking you next. You have not walked through fire for nothing. You have not endured sleepless nights for nothing. You have not cried tears that God ignored. Heaven counted every tear, every prayer, every moment you held on by a thread. And the same God who held you together in the dark is the God who is about to launch you into the light. The same God who carried you through the valley is about to elevate you on the mountain. The same God who whispered to your soul when you were ready to quit is the God who is calling you forward into something you've never seen before. Don't let your present pain blind you to your future promise. Don't let your temporary struggle make you misinterpret your permanent assignment. You didn't come this far by chance, by accident, or by human strength. You came this far because the hand of God has been on your life. And when his hand is on your life, no devil in hell can stop what he has ordained. What he started, he will finish. What he promised, he will deliver. What he declared, he will bring to pass. You may feel tired, but you are chosen. You may feel stretched, but you are called. You may feel overlooked, but heaven has already approved you. God didn't invest this much in you to let you collapse in the middle. He didn't speak destiny over you so you could die in defeat. He didn't carry you through battles, storms, valleys, heartbreaks, and lonely seasons just to abandon you at the edge of your breakthrough. He is a finisher. And because he is a finisher, you will finish too. So straighten your shoulders, wipe your tears, take a deep breath, and step forward with holy confidence. Your life is not collapsing, it is unfolding. Your journey is not ending, it is transitioning. Your faith is not failing, it is being fortified. Everything you have faced has been preparing you for the door God is about to swing open in your favor. And when it opens, you'll understand why the enemy fought you so hard to keep you stuck. You were too close. You were too anointed. You were too chosen to stay where you were. This is not the chapter where you give up. This is the chapter where you rise. This is the moment where you embrace the truth that has been echoing through your entire journey. God didn't bring you this far to leave you here. He brought you this far to show you what persistence looks like, to teach you what faith feels like, to reveal what resilience produces. And now that you've survived what was designed to destroy you, he's about to take you into what was designed to bless you. So lift your head, child of God, square your feet, plant your faith. The God who walked you into this season is the same God who will walk you out. The God who held you in the storm will lead you into the promise. The God who carried you through the wilderness will deliver you into destiny. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are not stuck. You are on the brink of something bigger than you prayed for, stronger than you imagined, and greater than you deserve. Now go forward with boldness. Step into your next with faith. Move with the confidence of someone who knows heaven is backing them. And live with the unshakable conviction that no matter what you face next, no matter what rises up against you, no matter how uncertain the road becomes, the God who brought you this far will never leave you here. He will finish what he started. He will fulfill what he promised. And he will carry you all the way to destiny. Amen.